My name is Elena Vargas. Most people who really know me call me Lena. I'm 27 years old, and this story, my story, isn't one I ever thought I'd be brave enough to share. Before I begin, let me ask you this. If you're listening right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know. And also, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Tell me in the comments. I love imagining my words reaching people all over the world. I wasn't always the woman in charge of my family's empire. In fact, I was once the one they pushed out, the one they disowned, because I chose love over money. And in my family, that was the greatest sin of all. It started with my father, Miguel Vargas. Cold, calculating, brilliant. The kind of man who could walk into a room and silence it with just a stare. He built Vargas Industries from nothing. Real estate, shipping, investments. You name it, his hands were in it. To outsiders, he was a genius. To me, he was the man who never hugged me after the age of 10. And then there was my sister, Camila, 2 years older, always flawless, always hungry for our father's approval. She dressed the part, spoke the part, lived for the role of heir, and me? I was the sensitive one, the romantic one, the disappointment. I'll never forget the night it all began, the night that drew the line between before and after. A family dinner at the Vargas estate, marble floors, chandeliers dripping with light, glasses of wine that probably cost more than the car I drove back then. My fiancé, Adrian, was at my side. He wasn't from money. He was a musician, charming, in a way that made you believe in poetry again. He wasn't what my father wanted for me, but he was what I wanted. Lena, my father said, swirling his wine glass like he was preparing a speech. I trust you've reconsidered. I looked across the long table at him. No, Papa. I'm marrying Adrian. The air froze. My sister smirked into her glass. My mother, quiet as always, lowered her eyes. And Adrian, sweet Adrian, squeezed. My hand under the table, whispering, I'm here. My father set his glass down with a sharp clink. Then you are no daughter of mine. I laughed, out of shock, out of disbelief. You can't be serious. Camilla leaned forward, her voice dripping with venom. You're throwing away everything for… what? A man who sings in bars? He believes in me. I shot back, my voice trembling. Something this family never did. My father's face hardened like stone. If you walk out with him, you walk out with nothing. Adrian tried to speak. Sir, with respect, I love your daughter. I'll take care of her. Care? My father's laugh was cruel. You can't even take care of yourself. The walls closed in. Their judgment suffocated me. My mother opened her mouth as if to intervene, but stopped, like always. So I stood. My chair scraped the marble. Then so be it. I'd rather have nothing than live a life without love. That was the night I was disowned. Adrian and I walked out of that mansion with only a suitcase and each other. I should have felt free. But instead, I felt hollow. Like I'd lost not just my family, but a piece of myself. The months that followed were brutal. We moved into a tiny apartment with peeling paint and neighbors who argued through the walls. I worked 2 jobs, days, at a cafe, nights at a bookstore. Adrian played gigs that barely paid enough for groceries. But still, when he looked at me, it felt like the world couldn't crush me. Until it did. One evening, after another endless shift, I came home to find Adrian pacing the apartment, his guitar tossed aside. Lena, we need to talk, he said, his tone sharp. My stomach dropped. What's wrong? He rubbed his hands through his hair. I can't do this anymore. The struggle, the constant fight. Your family was right. I'll never be enough for you. I felt my chest split open. "Adrian, don't say that. You are enough. No!" His voice cracked. "I love you. But love doesn't pay rent. Love doesn't fix broken dreams. I wanted to give you the world, and I can't even give you dinner some nights." Tears blurred my vision. "So, what are you saying?" He swallowed hard, his eyes already distant. "I'm saying goodbye." The door shut behind him, and with it, the last piece of stability I had. In that silence, my father's words echoed in my head. If you walk out with him, you walk out with nothing, and he had been right. I had nothing. No family, no love, no future. Or so I thought, because in the depths of that despair, something inside me broke, and something new began to grow. A fire, a hunger, a vow that I would rise, not just to survive, but to show them all. That was the night I decided. If they thought I was nothing, I would become everything. But I had no idea then how twisted, how ruthless the road ahead would be. Because rising in the world my father ruled meant making choices that would test not just my ambition, but my very soul. And it all started with one unexpected phone call. The phone call came on a Tuesday night. I remember, because I was lying on my mattress, still on the floor because I couldn't afford a bed frame yet, staring at the cracks in the ceiling like they held the answers I didn't. The screen lit. Up, unknown number. Normally, I wouldn't have answered, but something in me, some tug of fate, made me swipe across the screen. "Hello?" A voice, smooth but urgent. "Elena Vargas?" I froze. No one called me that anymore, just Lena. Elena Vargas was dead, cut off, erased. "Who's asking?" I whispered. "This is Diego Morales. I used to work with your father. I need to see you. It's important. About the company, about your family." My stomach twisted. I almost hung up. But then his last words pinned me down. "Your sister can't know." The next day, I met him at a little cafe downtown. He was older, maybe in his 50s. Sharp eyes that darted around the room like he was expecting spies in every corner. He leaned across the table, voice low. "Your father isn't well." I stiffened. "What do you mean? He's invincible." "Not anymore," Diego said. "The empire is shaking, competitors circling like vultures, and Camila," he grimaced. "Camila doesn't have the head for this. She's reckless, prideful. If she takes over alone, everything your father built will collapse." I wanted to laugh. "And what does this have to do with me? I was disowned, remember?" Diego's gaze sharpened. "That doesn't change the blood in your veins. Like it or not, Elena, you are still a Vargas, and I think you're the only one who can save them." My heart pounded. Me? Save the family that had thrown me away? "Why are you telling me this?" His answer was a whisper. "Because I saw something in you once, something your father refused to see. You have his fire, but you also have your mother's heart. That combination? That's what Vargas Industries needs." I stared into my coffee, torn. Part of me wanted to walk away, let them drown in their own greed. But another part, a louder, hungrier part, remembered the nights of hunger, the cold floors, Adrian's betrayal. Maybe this was my chance, not just for revenge, but for redemption. The next week, I stood at the gates of the Vargas estate again. The iron bars loomed high, the family crest glinting in the sun. It felt surreal, like stepping into a past life. The guards recognized me instantly, nervous glances. One finally pressed the button to open the gate. Inside, nothing had changed. Marble floors, chandeliers, ancestor portraits glaring down with disapproval. The only thing different was the heaviness in the air. I was led to my father's study, and there he was, Miguel Vargas, older, thinner, His once commanding presence dimmed. But his eyes, those same piercing eyes, still burned. He looked at me like a ghost. "Elena." I crossed my arms. "Surprised to see me?" His lips curled faintly. "I didn't think you'd come." I almost didn't. Silence stretched. Between us. Years of unspoken words. Then he coughed, a harsh, rattling sound that made him look human. Mortal. "I made mistakes," he admitted, voice gravelly. "But the company, our family's legacy, it cannot die with me." I raised an eyebrow. "And what about Camilla? Isn't she your perfect heir?" His eyes flickered. "Camilla has ambition, but not control. She is too eager to win battles, even if it means losing the war." It was the closest thing to an apology I'd ever heard. But before I could respond, the door burst open. Lena? Camilla, flawless as ever. Designer clothes, eyes sharp with disdain. She froze when she saw me. "What is she doing here?" She hissed, turning to our father. "I called her," he said firmly. Camilla's laugh was sharp, cruel. "Unbelievable. She runs off with a starving musician, humiliates this family, and you bring her back? For what? Pity?" Her words stung. But I lifted my chin. "I'm not here for pity. I'm here because this family is about to fall apart." Camilla stepped closer, her perfume overwhelming. "And what makes you think you're the one to save it? You're nothing without us. Nothing." I locked eyes with her. Steady. "We'll see?" The room was electric. Years of rivalry boiling between us. My father's voice cut like steel. "Enough. If this family is to survive, you two will work together. No more fighting." Camilla's face twisted in fury. "Work with her? Never." But my father's words thundered. "Either you do, or you both lose everything." The weight of it sank in. For the first time, Camilla's eyes showed something other than hatred. Fear. And in that moment, I realized something chilling. If we were forced to share power, it would only be a matter of time before one of us tried to destroy the other. That night, I stood alone on the balcony of my old bedroom, staring at the city lights. Once, I thought love was enough. Once, I believed in happy endings. But now I was back in the game I swore I'd left behind, and I could feel it already. This was no longer about proving myself to my father. This was about survival. Because in the Vargas family, love was weakness, and weakness was death. Working with Camilla was like playing chess with a cobra. Every move I made, she countered with venom. Every suggestion I offered, she twisted into an insult. And yet, beneath her sharp edges, I could see the cracks forming. She wasn't as untouchable as she pretended to be. Our first test came almost immediately. The Vargas Board of Directors. Men in suits, most of whom had known me since I was a child. They sat around the long mahogany table, their eyes heavy with skepticism, like I was an imposter trespassing in their kingdom. At the head of the table, my father sat. Frail, but present. Camilla to his right, I took the left. One man cleared his throat. "With respect, Senor Vargas, bringing Elena back is unconventional. Her history with the family is none of your concern," my father snapped. His voice, though weaker now, still carried authority. But Camilla leaned in, her tone dripping honeyed poison. "They're right, father. Trust has to be earned, and Lena hasn't exactly shown loyalty." The eyes turned against me. Exactly her game. So I spoke. "You all think I'm weak because I walked away. But I know what it's like to start from nothing, to struggle, to fight, to survive without the safety net of Vargas wealth. That's something Camilla can't say. If this company wants to endure, it needs someone who understands resilience. A murmur spread across the room. Camilla's smirk faltered. For the first time, I had won a point. But the real storm came days later. Diego Morales called me into his office, stacks of files on his desk, numbers, contracts, a battlefield of ink. "We have a problem," he said grimly. I sat across from him. "Define problem." "A rival firm, Delgado Enterprises, is circling. They're trying to poach our biggest shipping clients. If they succeed, we lose a third of our revenue in less than a year." My chest tightened. "And what's Camilla doing about it?" Diego grimaced. "Throwing money at it, offering desperate incentives, cutting deals that make no financial sense. It's panic, not strategy." I bit my lip, mind racing. "Then let me try." The chance came sooner than expected. That evening, Delgado's CEO, Antonio Delgado, invited us to a negotiation dinner. Men like him thrived on intimidation, dressing their threats in charm and wine. Camilla and I arrived together. She spent most of the drive criticizing my outfit. "You could at least wear something tailored," she sneered, eyes flicking over my simple black dress. I smiled coldly. "And you could try wearing humility." The restaurant was a cathedral. Of glass and steel, every surface gleaming, Delgado greeted us. Tall, slicked back hair, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. The Vargas sisters," he said smoothly. "One polished, one rustic. Interesting contrast." Camilla bristled. I forced a polite smile. "And yet, both dangerous, in our own ways." The dinner was a duel disguised as conversation. Delgado carved his steak like it was strategy. "Your company is bleeding," he said. "Join forces with me, and I'll ensure Vargas Industries doesn't disappear into history." Camilla leaned forward, eager. "And what exactly would we gain?" Delgado's smile widened. "Survival." I set my glass down. "Funny. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're the one circling us like a desperate predator. And predators only circle when they're hungry." His eyes narrowed. Camilla shot me a warning glare, but I pressed on. "You want our clients? Fine. But understand this. Vargas doesn't beg. Vargas doesn't bend. If you try to steal from us, we'll take twice as much from you. Consider that a promise." The table went silent. Delgado's fork froze midair. Then, slowly, he began to laugh. "Interesting," he murmured. "Perhaps I underestimated you, Elena." On the way back, Camilla exploded. "Are you insane? Threatening him like that? He'll bury us." I met her fury with calm steel. "No, he'll respect us. He saw fear in you. He saw strength in me. And now he knows I'm not afraid to fight." Her fists clenched, trembling. "You think you're smarter than me, don't you?" "No," I said softly, almost kindly. "I think I'm different than you. And that difference might be the only thing keeping us alive." That night, in my old room, I replayed the evening in my head. Delgado's eyes. The boardroom whispers. Camilla's fury. For the first time, I tasted power. Not borrowed, not given, claimed. But power is dangerous. It doesn't come without enemies. And as I drifted into restless sleep, I had no idea. The next betrayal was already moving closer, not from the outside, from within my own family. I stared at the folder. My hands trembled as I flipped through the pages. Account numbers, transfers, signatures that looked exactly like mine. On the surface, it was airtight, but I hadn't moved a single peso. The board members eyed me with thinly veiled judgment. One finally spoke. "Elena, do you have an explanation for this?" My throat went dry. "This isn't real. It's fabricated. Someone's trying to frame me." Across the table, Camilla leaned back. Her lips curled into that smug smile I knew too well. "Oh, come on, Lena. Isn't denial the first step when you're caught?" I slammed the folder shut. "You think this is my doing? Convenient that the only person who benefits from this is you. Her eyes gleamed. Or maybe you're just not as innocent as you like to pretend. After the meeting, I stormed into Diego's office. He was pacing, jaw tight, worry written across his face. "You've seen it?" he asked. "Yes," I hissed. "And you know it's a lie. Who's behind this?" Diego hesitated. Too long. His silence told me more than words. "Diego." I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "Don't tell me you knew." He looked me in the eye, regret heavy in his gaze. "Camilla came to me weeks ago. She wanted leverage against you. I didn't think she'd go this far." My chest burned. Betrayal layered upon betrayal. First Adrian, then my father, and now even Diego. The one who had pulled me back into this mess had chosen silence when it mattered. "You should have warned me," I whispered, voice breaking. "I thought I could stop her," he said. "But Elena, your sister doesn't want to work with you. She wants to destroy you." That night, I found Camilla in the upstairs lounge, sipping champagne, as though nothing in the world could touch her. "You framed me," I said, voice sharp as glass. She tilted her head, feigning innocence. "That's a heavy accusation. Proof?" I stepped closer. "The proof is in your arrogance. You've wanted me gone since the moment I stepped back into this house, and you'll burn the company to the ground just to watch me fall." For a second, her mask slipped. Her eyes hardened, cold, venomous. "You think you're the savior, don't you? The outcast who returns, triumphant. But this is my story, Lena. Mine. And if you don't get out of my way, I'll bury you." Her words echoed in the silence. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. She wasn't bluffing. Days passed like walking on shards of glass. The board grew restless. My father, too sick to intervene, withdrew further into silence. And Delgado, the rival, smelled blood in the water. He was circling closer, waiting for the Vargas sisters to devour each other. One evening, I sat alone in my room. The city glittered beyond the window like a promise I couldn't touch. I whispered to myself, maybe I should just leave. Walk away before she ruins me completely. But then I remembered the years in that broken apartment, the nights I went hungry, the door closing as Adrian walked out, the cold in my father's voice when he disowned me. No, I wouldn't walk away again. Not this time. If Camilla wanted war, she would get it. The next morning, I marched into the boardroom with fire in my veins. "I know someone is trying to frame me," I began. "But before you make judgments, you should know the truth." The directors exchanged wary glances. Camilla smirked, confident she'd already won. "I'm calling for a full, independent audit of all company accounts," I continued. "If I'm guilty, the evidence will show it. But if I'm innocent..." I locked my gaze on my sister. "Then we'll know who really has something to hide." Her smile flickered, just for a second. But I caught it. The board members nodded slowly, murmuring among themselves. The tide was shifting, ever so slightly, back in my favor. That night, I slipped into my father's study. He was weak, almost ghost-like, but his eyes flickered open. When I entered, "Papa," I whispered, "you have to know what Camilla is doing." His voice rasped, barely audible. "You and your sister. You will destroy each other, and the company will die with you." Tears stung my eyes. "I don't want to destroy her. I just want to survive." He coughed, clutching his chest. "Then you must be smarter than I was. Don't fight her with anger. Fight her with patience, with control." I nodded, though inside, my blood screamed for vengeance. And then, as I turned to leave, he whispered something that froze me in my tracks. "She isn't the only one you should fear." My father's words echoed through me like thunder in an empty canyon. "She isn't the only one you should fear. Who else could it be? Camila was obvious. Too obvious. But if there was another snake in the garden, I needed to find it before it struck. The answer came sooner than I expected. A week later, the audit began. Investigators combed through every account, every transfer, every transaction. Camila avoided me, pretending she was too busy for conversation. But I could feel her watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. Then Diego called me. "We need to talk. Now." His tone was urgent, unlike anything I'd heard before. I met him in his office after hours, the building eerily silent, except for the hum of the city outside. He closed the blinds, locked the door, pressed a file into my hands. "Elena, listen to me carefully. Whoever is setting you up, it isn't just Camila." My chest tightened. "Then who?" Diego hesitated. His jaw worked, like the words themselves burned. Finally, he whispered, "Your fiancé." I froze. For a second, I thought I hadn't heard him correctly. "What are you talking about?" "Adrian left me. He's gone." Diego shook his head grimly. "Not gone. He's back. Delgado recruited him months ago. He's been feeding them information about you, about your weaknesses, your past. And these documents framing you? Some of the details. They could only come from someone who lived with you." My knees went weak. I gripped the edge of his desk. No, that doesn't make sense. Adrian loved me. He chose survival," Diego said coldly. "And maybe revenge. You walked away from your family for him, and he repaid you by selling your secrets." The room tilted. My breath came shallow, ragged. Adrian, the man I had sacrificed everything for, had come back into my life. Not as a lover, not even as an enemy, but as a weapon in someone else's hands. Later that night, I sat in my old bedroom, staring at the engagement ring still buried in the back of a drawer. I had kept it, foolishly, as a reminder of love. Now it mocked me. My thoughts spiraled. Had it all been a lie? Every whispered promise? Every late-night laugh in our broken apartment? Or had Delgado twisted him, exploited his bitterness and insecurity? I didn't know, and worse, I wasn't sure which answer hurt more. One thing was certain, Adrian was back, and he wasn't on my side. The next day confirmed it. I walked into a board meeting, already tense from sleepless hours. And there he was, Adrian, sitting beside Antonio Delgado, dressed in a suit that didn't belong to him. His hair slicked back, his smile polished. But his eyes, those eyes I once loved, looked at me like I was nothing. Camila's grin widened as she noticed my reaction. "Surprised, sister? Seems your past has caught up with you." Delgado leaned forward, resting a smug hand on Adrian's shoulder. "We thought it was time you met our new consultant, a man with intimate knowledge of your habits." Adrian's gaze locked with mine. Cold, detached. "Hello, Lena." It felt like the ground opened beneath me. I forced my voice steady. "So this is it. You leave me with nothing, then come. Back to finish the job?" He smirked. "A shadow of the boy I once knew. You left me first, Elena. For this family. For this empire. Don't pretend you didn't choose them over me." My chest burned. "I chose us. But you gave up before the fight even began." His jaw clenched. But Delgado cut in smoothly. "Enough of this melodrama. The truth is, Vargas Industries is crumbling, and with Adrian's insight, we're more than prepared to replace you." The board murmured uneasily. Camila beamed. "And me?" I sat frozen, fury and heartbreak clawing at my throat, because the one person I had once trusted more than anyone else was now the weapon aimed at my destruction. That night, I stood on the balcony again, the city lights blurred by tears. First my father's rejection, then Camilla's betrayal, and now Adrian, the man I once loved, standing with my enemies. Whispered to the night, "How much more can I lose?" But then, somewhere deep inside, another voice whispered back, "You've already lost everything before, and you survived. You'll survive this too. Maybe even more than survive. Maybe this was my chance not just to fight back, but to take it all." The next morning, I walked into the office with fire in my veins. If Adrian and Camilla wanted war, then war was what they would get. But I had no idea then, no idea, that the next betrayal waiting for me would cut deeper than all the others combined. War doesn't always arrive with fire and gunpowder. Sometimes it arrives quietly, pause with signatures, whispered alliances, lies dressed as truth. That was how the final battle for Vargas Industries began. Camilla thought she had cornered me. Adrian thought his betrayal would destroy me. Delgado believed his empire would swallow mine whole. Beat. But they had underestimated something far greater than numbers on a balance sheet. They had underestimated, pause me. The day of the shareholder vote arrived. Whoever secured the IEI, majority would control the Vargas fortune, pause, and the legacy of my family. The room buzzed with tension. The board sat in a perfect circle, eyes darting between me and Delgado. Camilla leaned back, smug. Adrian stood at Delgado's side like a knight protecting his king. I took my seat. Calm, pause, but burning inside. Delgado spoke first, his voice like oil sliding over stone. "Ladies and gentlemen, Elena Vargas has proven unstable. Her finances are in question, her judgment clouded. But with my guidance, pause, and Mr. Adrian Reyes' insight, Vargas Industries will thrive." Applause. Adrian lifted his chin, refusing to meet my eyes. Camilla smirked, whispering loud enough for the room to hear. This is what happens when little girls play at power. Beat my turn. I stood slowly, letting silence stretch. Some of you think I am weak, I began steady. You see betrayal in the tabloids, whispers of scandal in the accounts. Pause. And you assume I cannot withstand the storm. I let my gaze sweep the room. Camilla, Delgado, Adrian. But storms don't break me. Beat, they make me. I tossed a folder onto the table. Inside, proof. Fraudulent transfers traced directly to Camilla and Delgado. Emails, signatures, timestamps. And the final blow, pause Adrian's sudden wealth, linked straight to Delgado's accounts. The board erupted. Camilla's face drained of color. Adrian's jaw dropped, mask cracking. I locked eyes with him. You sold me out for pocket change. Pause. And you sold yourself in the process. Camilla stammered. This is forged. She's lying. But Diego rose with the investigators. Independent auditors confirmed it. Every word. The whispers grew louder. Delgado slammed his fist on the table. But the tide had turned. When the votes were cast, pause, the result was undeniable. Elena Vargas, once disowned, once broken, was now in full control of Vargas Industries. That night, I walked the empty halls of the building that bore my family's name. Every step echoed with ghosts. My father's rejection, Camilla's envy, Adrian's betrayal. But I was not the same trembling girl. In my office, I opened a drawer. The engagement ring still sat there. I stared at it, remembering the girl who thought love was enough to shield her from the world. Then, without hesitation, I set it down again. Not with bitterness, not with anger, but with acceptance. Weeks later, Camilla fled the country. Delgado's empire collapsed. And Adrian? He reached out, begging forgiveness, claiming he was manipulated. I listened. Pause. I even believed part of him still loved me. But I did not take him back, because love without respect, without loyalty, is nothing. The closure came quietly. At a charity gala, I was given a simple fountain pen, the same kind my father once used to sign contracts. Someone whispered it had been found in his desk after he passed. I held it, heavy with history, and in that moment, I understood. My father disowned me for choosing love. But now, I had rewritten the story, not by destroying his empire, but by surviving, by thriving, by becoming something he never imagined. The pen was no longer his. Beat, it was mine. So here I am, Elena Vargas, or Lena, if you prefer, telling you my story, not as a victim, but as a woman who rose from the ashes of betrayal. Some stories are about revenge. Mine is about reclamation. Because sometimes the sweetest victory isn't proving them wrong. It's proving yourself right, and to you watching, wherever you are, pause. Maybe you've been betrayed too. Maybe the people you trusted most turned their backs on you. If so, remember this. Storms don't break you. They make you. This is my story. But maybe it's yours too. So tell me, where are you watching from?